Do you own an island in the U.S. Virgin Islands?
I intend to respond to all relevant questions regarding this lawsuit. However, at the present time, my attorneys have counseled me that I cannot provide answers to any questions relevant to this lawsuit, no matter how much I'd like to.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
With Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Epstein News.
The fallout from the Epstein.
The hardest part is reaching the island I'm going to. All eyes are on that island, and they say it's almost impossible to get onto it. They say it's impossible to even approach it. I have a lot of doubts about getting in. I mean, I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible during this period. Yes, the tough mission begins. I haven't bought a return ticket. I'll approach that island no matter how long it takes. Right now, it's at its most heated period. A few years ago, a kid went there, but it hadn't blown up like this yet. Right now, it really looks very difficult. I need someone to take me to Epstein Island. But no matter who I ask, everyone rejects me and people are really scared. They're even afraid to hear its name. I'm facing very serious reactions, harsh reactions. It's a bit scary. Now I need to hide the camera here. You can't go to Epstein Island. Why not?
They'll chase that from there.
As a Turk, we Turks always find a way. I'm filming. Is there a problem?
No, brother.
Hey.
Come on, brother.
When I came to the island, I said there probably aren't any Turks. I wished there were. It would solve all the problems.
Are there places without Turks?
Yesterday, Muslim opened the doors to places I couldn't get into. Our captain Tony will take us to the island. Guys, we've really accomplished something very difficult. At the same time, I'm both excited and very anxious. Because we're going to an island where the FBI is everywhere and the whole world is watching. I wonder if we'll be able to get close to the island. I wonder if I'll be able to set foot on the island with these questions in my mind and adrenaline at its peak. We're heading toward the island, Great St. James Island, St. James. But there's nothing saintly about it. Right under the eyes of the world and the FBI, some of the world's most important figures have established a perverse cult here. A satanic cult lies behind this beauty. Horrifying.
We knew about it mostly.
Epstein sent an email. He says, there are girls at the party. When he says girls, what's your thought? The girls arrived. You'd think 20 or 30-year-olds showed up. He means 1-year-olds. I mean, he defines them as girls. 1-year-old babies, my friends. Right now, we are very close to the island that the whole world is watching. We're going to film it much, much closer, guys. We'll film everything, don't worry. They say there's a tunnel underground here. Bro, honestly, what we're doing right now is really dangerous. He says go home immediately. Immediately. Don't panic us, man.
What you're doing is incredible. Are you really going to go?
I'm gonna go.
I'll just say no, you can't do it.
If they shoot, run and leave me. Guys, just a moment. I started this channel to provide scholarships to Darushafaqa students affected by the earthquake. And we've given out millions of lira. To get this on the Explore page, please follow me. I know many of you will watch without following. We can see the statistics. If you like, comment, hype, or share with your friends, you'll help us provide not just a total, but millions in scholarships every month. Thank you in advance. Enjoy watching. For months I've been reading the Epstein files, reviewing the news and following every detail. But interestingly, despite all that information, I had never actually looked up where this island was located. With a little research, I found out that the island is just a tiny dot off the coast of the US Virgin Islands, and just 15 minutes later, I had bought my ticket. This wasn't just curiosity, I wanted to see the truth with my own eyes, past all the theories. After layovers in Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, I finished an exhausting, unsettling journey that lasted for hours. As I watched that magnificent view in the airplane window, I had just one question. How could such evil hide in such pure beauty? The whole world is in turmoil over the name Epstein. So who is Jeffrey Epstein? Everything began with an event in the United States that could be called impossible. Despite not graduating from university, he started working as a physics and mathematics teacher at Dalton, New York's most prestigious school. So who do you think hired him at this elite school when he had no diploma at all? It was the school's principal at the time, Donald Baal. In other words, the biological father of William Baal, who would later become the US Attorney General. Even back then, Epstein had already positioned himself at the center of power. Meanwhile, at his mansion in Florida, he was laying the foundations of his chilling network. He started by luring vulnerable girls from nearby high schools, getting them to give him massages. He created a diabolical supplier pyramid by giving each girl he ensnared $200 to recruit and bring in other children. Even though two sisters who were victimized in the 90s reported it to the FBI, no action was taken. The case was covered up by a magic hand. Those who tried to expose the events were silenced using methods straight out of mafia movies. To intimidate journalists, a severed cat's head and a real bullet were left at the door of Graydon Carter, the famous editor of Vanity Fair magazine, who was preparing a story about Epstein, and this terrifying intimidation tactic worked. The news stories were swept under the rug. Of course, he wasn't doing all this alone. Ghislaine Maxwell was by his side. She was the daughter of British media tycoon Robert Maxwell, but after her father died under suspicious circumstances, she was left without money and became Epstein's biggest accomplice. She helped Epstein find girls and even enabled him to befriend members of the British royal family such as Prince Andrew. Maxwell was arrested in 2020 and is currently serving her 20-year sentence. At this point, the victim who changed the course of the case and shook the system with her courage, Virginia Giuffre, came forward. Giuffre, who was brought into this network by Maxwell when she was still a young girl, was trafficked by Epstein to some of the most powerful men in the world. Years later, she would be the one to light the fuse that would bring this whole system crashing down.
This is the deeply harrowing story of being trafficked. This is a story of profound and unspeakable abuse. And this is a story about discovering your own inner royalty.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady before.
What happened in the shadow of that strange blue and white temple with the golden dome on Little St. James Island was inhuman. The thousands of pages of emails that surfaced contained chilling details. Torture of children, satanic rituals, and ceremonies involving the consumption of children's flesh. According to the allegations, a billionaire CEO raped a 16-year-old autistic child, as well as another child who was only 10 years old. He bit their bodies and cut the children. So how did Epstein get away with it? In 2008, federal prosecutor Alexandra Acosta made a secret deal with Epstein and gave him only 18 months in prison. But the most horrifying and secret clause of this deal was this: not only Epstein, but all his accomplices whose names were unknown also gained immunity. For most of the 18-month sentence, Epstein did not actually serve time in prison. He was allowed to go out for 12 hours a day, work in his own office, and continue his perversions. If you're rich and protect the elite, you can get away with it even in the United States. Moreover, the prosecutor Acosta, who made this scandalous deal, was rewarded years later by being appointed Secretary of Labor under Trump's presidency. That is, until the Epstein case exploded and he was forced to resign. After supposedly serving his sentence, Epstein was not ostracized from high society. He continued to throw parties with the world's most powerful people, from Bill Gates to Prince Andrew. However, when he was arrested again in 2019, there was no escape this time. While he was in his cell in Manhattan, somehow the guards fell asleep, the cameras broke down, and Epstein supposedly committed suicide by strangling himself with a sheet. Just 2 days before his death, he made his final diabolical move. He transferred his personal fortune of $577 million into a secret fund in the Virgin Islands called the 1953 Trust, named after his birth year. His goal was simple: to make it legally impossible for the women he left behind, his rape victims, to receive compensation from that money. Now I am at that point, right across from that island, the one that has been the subject of dark scenarios for years.
bro, seriously, right now we're doing something really dangerous. He says, go home right now. Don't panic us, man. What you're doing is incredible. Are you really going to go? I'll go. I'll say, no, you can't do it. Dude, if they start shooting, you guys run and leave me behind. Here. Has the first blood been spilled? It can't happen without blood. Friends, as you know, I've been traveling for years and we donate all our income as scholarships to students affected by the earthquake at Darushafaqa. On this journey, Just English language schools have been incredibly helpful to me, and they still are. That's why I recommend you choose Just English language schools, both in America and in Turkey. And I'm going to make a small comparison for you. How can you learn? Aside from traveling the world, English is now very important in business and trade. It's more important than anything else. So how can you learn English? First, you can learn in the preparatory departments of universities. Let me turn around so you can also see the view behind me. If you pay between 600,000 and 2 million lira, universities can teach you English in their preparatory programs. Apart from that, if you go to Just English or any other language course, you can get language education for between 80,000 and 200,000 lira. You can either take this training yourself or have your children take it. And as a third option, you can learn with artificial intelligence. Yes, this will cost you almost nothing. Of course, Just English is not ignoring the artificial intelligence revolution. At the same time, it offers the best learning method with AI-supported education. Now, while talking at the airport, I won't mention the man's name. So as not to cause discomfort, people around might overhear. The island has such beautiful mountains, it's such a magnificent island, and the houses of the rich are on the island. Right in the center of the island. Imagine, the person I'm talking about has an island connected to this place. It's really like that. An island just 5 or 10 minutes away. Epstein's Island? I said it. He goes there by boat from here, but he comes here, friends. So first, from his house in America, either in Florida or New York, he comes here with his private jet and lands here. When he lands here, the governor of this island, the mayor, the highest-ranking officials come to greet him. It's assumed that everyone knows, and the people landing on this tiny island are not just ordinary names, friends. Bill Clinton has come here many times. The favorite son of Queen Elizabeth of England. In other words, the brother of the current king. They used to come here repeatedly, and they land at this airport. A lot of high-ranking government officials greet them at this airport, and just imagine, from the legendary Bill Gates to various former and current American presidents, all the way to the highest-ranking members of the British royal family have all been welcomed here. It shows about 30 minutes. Probably the roads on the island are bad. We're on the other end. He also calls his private jet, which he uses to come to this island, the Lolita Express, guys. He named it Lolita Express. You already know what Lolita means. You can Google it. For those who don't know, I don't even know how to put it into words. Yeah. When I asked the price, I thought it was a taxi. It was a minibus, and they packed in the American tourists. Into the minibus. They put me right at the front. I was the first one to get on. Damn, he blocked my view. Yeah, the minibus actually dropped me off right here at this spot. Of course, I'm not in a very luxurious place. My internet isn't working. I got American internet in Puerto Rico, but it's not working. Yes, guys, I figured out how to travel on the island. You get on these minibuses for $2, and apparently they take you all around the island. You can get off wherever you want. You just press the bell. I'm not sure where it is, though. My internet from Puerto Rico failed here. Cell phones too, despite both being American territories. Strangely, it just didn't work. I had to buy a new one. It ranges between $50 and $80. It depends on how many gigabytes you get. It's actually a nice method. The hardest part is reaching the island I just passed, because that island, let's just say, is under FBI scrutiny right now. I won't say it in English for you. We'll write it below. Basically, the whole world is watching that island, and they say it's almost impossible to enter the island. They also say it's impossible to even approach it. I have a lot of doubts about getting in, honestly. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible during this period. I'll try to find someone for that. On the first day, I'll do a bit of observation. Let's see. If this were American soil, getting onto that island would be beyond impossible. Imagine if it were in New York or something. But here you don't have those strict American rules or that atmosphere. At the same time, since it's Caribbean land and the people are Caribbean, that's why I'll try to find a way. As a Turk, we Turks always find a way. But it's tough, I mean, I give it a 50% chance that we'll get close to the island to approach it. But I give only a 2% chance of landing on the island, and that's only because of our Turkish resourcefulness. Otherwise, it's really, really difficult. All right, let's observe the island a bit. I honestly have no idea where I am. I mean, I really have no clue. All right, let's go. The place we're heading to is on the east side of the island. This vehicle is also heading east. It's going northeast, but we're going to try to get to that island, guys. I won't mention the names of these two islands. I don't want people to hear about the perverts, people. These two islands, of course, his death, his suicide, is suspicious. It's said that he's not there. It's possible. I mean, in a case where so much perversion and such a huge network is involved, it's possible he didn't die. Before his suspicious suicide, he died without being able to plant anything in that room. On the smaller one next to it, there are the buildings and that perverted temple. Anyway, the temple they're talking about is there. We're going to try to find all of them. Luckily for us, it started to rain. Look. It seems the weather here has suddenly become so incredibly bright and clear. Right after here are the British Virgin Islands. I mean, if you go straight from here, you could reach Africa. It's that straight, I mean, completely flat. There's no other land in between. No land mass at all. There are small islands like Antigua and Barbuda, that's it. It's that open. And all of a sudden, the weather outside changes. I've arrived at the spot I marked on the map earlier, but I don't know if there's a way through. When I saw those, I thought everywhere was locked up. Now I'm going to ask the boaters here. This is 99.9% of it. I'm here. The island we're going to is Epstein Island. Here is Little St. James, as it's called among the yachts. Yes, the tough mission begins. I didn't buy a return ticket. I'm going to approach that island, no matter how many days it takes. Right now, it's at its most heated period. A few years ago, a kid went there, but it hadn't really blown up yet back then. Right now, it really looks very difficult. Let's see. Yes, what I was afraid of happened. There's no landing on the shore. I only saw people getting off here. Let's see. I think that's the place too. In this parking lot, wealthy Americans are everywhere. Forget cats or dogs, there are just chickens here. Poultry are wandering all over the place. Look at this. You absolutely can't reach the shore. How am I supposed to talk about these technologies? There are chickens everywhere. I've never seen such nonsense before. Now they'll probably kick me out of here too. They've completely closed it off. It says, "Smile, you're on camera." Absolutely no entry. Look, honestly guys, I'm a very low-budget documentarian. I'm not the BBC or anything like that. I'm a low-budget documentarian. Unfortunately, I couldn't make any connections, but I did get a lot of phone numbers. I talked to people on the street. I was almost getting beaten up by a small gang. We filmed, and they realized I was filming. Then I deleted it really quickly. I showed them. He says, "I live in America." He won't eat it. He's huge. "Man, isn't this America?" He says, "This is the Caribbean." Anyway, it turned into quite an action scene. The sunset. I'm heading back to the hostel where I'm staying. By the way, it's pretty full. Everyone uses this place. It's cheap, man, $2. Hello to everyone, friends. Island Diaries 2. Let's see if we can go to the island I want today. The one whose name I can't really pronounce. Of course, filming the island is almost impossible. Because the favorite son of Elizabeth, the sister of the King of Britain, has been arrested. Friends, it's an unbelievable thing. Honestly, even if I thought for a million years, I would never have imagined something like this. No one wants to talk on this island. It's really troublesome. There's honestly a very strange and troubling situation here. I'm on St. Thomas Island and I'm looking for someone to take me to Epstein Island. But no matter who I ask, everyone turns me down and people are really scared. They're even afraid to hear its name. Here, I'm asking the taxi drivers. I thought maybe the Haitian taxi drivers wouldn't be afraid because they're already working illegally. But even they say there's absolutely no way they can take me. My search for a boat continues. Unfortunately, the buses are weird. Somehow, it arrived full, and here, time also means money. Hotels start from about $150 to $200. A Haitian taxi driver said he could take me for $10. I said, okay. It's quite a long distance, almost 20 minutes. I asked because I keep asking Americans or people on this island. They're very relaxed. They say no or something like that all the time. So when I found the Haitian, I immediately asked him. These are poor people. Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the world. He immediately called his friend. They speak French like Creole French, and he says food center. I thought it was foot center. Turns out it was food center, for example. Their English is this interesting. Now he sent me here. I really don't know where I am. He said the technology here will take you there, but I'm facing very serious reactions. With harsh reactions. It's a bit scary. It's not like the things I usually film. Because this is a very recent incident, guys. You know, the brother of the King of England was arrested. We're talking about the brother of the King of England, Elizabeth's favorite son, Queen Elizabeth. So these aren't like prime ministers or anything. They're exactly who you think they are. Right across is the British Virgin Islands. Yes, I've found the environment I like. Why? Because I can get in. And small boats. Now I need to hide the camera here. Honestly, I have no hope here, but on the other side, it's definitely more promising. No one wants to get involved either. And they're right, honestly. Especially considering the kind of money I can offer. I have tried every single marina available. None left. No, man. No one wants to take me. And then they quote prices like $2,000 or something. It's unbelievable. Do you have a friend who can pay the passage fee? Huh? Do you have a friend who can pay the passage fee? Passage fee? Passage fee, yes. You can't go there. You can't go to Epstein Island. Why not? They chase people away from there. He will come with me. We're going to Epstein Island. So you can't take me there? Unbelievable. Look, I think that's a swordfish. Wow, look at the size of that fish. Yes, it's a tarpon fish. I've never heard of it before, though.
Let's take a first look. I'm going to join a tour. I'll show you the beauties of this place to you. Of course, I'll save that for another episode, but I actually joined the tour to be able to personally meet extensively and to successfully make my way through here. We're setting off towards the island of the person whose name must not be mentioned. It's going to turn like this, and we'll probably pass by it. Let's see. I'll try to see the temple. It's magnificent, though. So beautiful. Hey, look at the beauty of the color, guys. It's sickly until you become human. You have such wealth. You have islands here, but still you work towards perversion. Look at the beauty of that color. Like an emerald. How beautifully it's blowing. Man, even the place where the rich live is air-conditioned. Do you see that ship? The island right behind the ship is Epstein's Island. All right? Even though my eyesight is good, it's barely visible. I'll film it much, much closer, guys. We'll film everything. Don't worry. By the way, as you know, this channel was created to provide scholarships for children.
Don't forget to follow and like, share with your friends, and leave a comment. Even a tiny comment can take us much further. Behind me, there's Epstein's big island. The owner of the island is someone else now, a businessman from New York like this, a stockbroker. The island is private property. In America, trespassing is illegal. Right now, it's already extremely problematic to go there. FBI agents are everywhere, swarming all over the place. I'm filming all this, but I'm really taking a serious risk because people are looking at me kind of strangely. The place behind this island is where all my patience is tested. It all meets here, including on this island. Patience is tested often on this island. Nature's the same. I'm about to lose my mind. All year, my nerves have been shot. The captain let me fly the drone, but he said, you have to fly it very quickly. I haven't flown it in years either. The last time was with Burhi in Mongolia when I crashed it. I'm praying to God, guys. Here it comes. Let me put it right here. Dude, the signal is lost. I just got to the island, the signal's gone, I'm about to lose it. By the way, it was left on, I didn't notice at all. You probably noticed, about me. Man, it won't go over the temple. I got really close, but right now I can see the whole island. Would I forget after all these years, guys? There are security guards on the shore, guys. There's a huge American flag hanging up. I'm gonna turn back from here because if I go any further, they'll shoot. Turn back, man. Turn, get away. It's a really old drone, guys. I was able to fly up to 600 to 700 meters. I didn't make any noise. Don't make any noise. They're already on alert, those guys. Oh, the footage is really beautiful, by the way. Man, look at the guys' islands. Look at that wealth. It's honestly unbelievable. God damn this vertigo. Seriously, Big St. James Island, St. James. But there's nothing saintly about it. In front of the whole world, under the eyes of the FBI, the world's most important people are here. They've formed a playboy cult. A satanic cult lies behind this beauty. Terrifying. We've come across the small island. It's very clearly visible. The temple has been painted white and the American flag has been hung. Now there are court records. It's called locks. In these flight records, among them are former presidents, scientists, members of the royal family, and Hollywood stars. It shows that many famous names traveled to this island on Epstein's plane, which many call the Lolita Express. Many of these people say they never went to the island or that they were unaware of Epstein's crimes. Bill Clinton came out and made a statement. He said, "I didn't know." He also said, "He was my friend, but I had no knowledge of what he was doing." Now, the rooms on the island, there are allegations that hidden cameras were installed for blackmail purposes. It is claimed that the real purpose behind Epstein inviting such powerful figures to his island was to record compromising footage of them in order to blackmail them and thus gain immunity. Some also claim that Epstein was connected to foreign intelligence agencies. Friends, what do you think about this? Your opinions are important too. It's incredible. I can clearly film the island right now.
Bill Clinton.
In the years that have gone by, he was well known for frequently coming to this exact location on a very regular basis, often making it a point to spend a great deal of his free time right here in this specific spot whenever he found himself with a spare moment to do so.
In the past, he would regularly make his way down to these scenic grounds on a regular basis to spend his time engaging in a relaxing game of golf during his free time. Every golf area, the shade, lost it to hurricane, and after hurricane then? After hurricane, it was never rebuilt. Okay, thank you. Because at that time, a formal mutual agreement was made with the employees. It's called a non-disclosure agreement. That's what it's called. In other words, a non-disclosure agreement. People who worked on the island think they might get into trouble because of this agreement. But after a great deal of effort, I finally had the opportunity to interview someone who knows Epstein Island very well and worked there extensively for a long time. Of course, we are concealing their identity and voice.
Around 2010, I received a request from them. They asked for products they called. Yes, we did very large projects. We worked together on many projects until Epstein's death. In fact, when Epstein died, we still had some receivables inside. We thought the money was gone, but 3 months later the company called. They said, "You have an open account." I said, "We did, but we thought we wouldn't be able to collect it anymore." They said no, and they sent a check. They made the payment. About 100 people used to work on the island every day. There were always ongoing construction projects. Whenever Epstein was going to come to the island, we would be notified in advance. The workers would prepare, because the island was like a huge construction site. So there was a lot of activity going on. Construction was constantly ongoing, and when Epstein was about to come, they would say, "Get ready, Epstein is coming," and everyone would be given 3 days off. So when Epstein was on the island, no one else would be there. When Epstein set foot on the island, everyone would disappear, including the workers. When he was on the island, only his most trusted inner circle and specifically designated staff would stay. Epstein was a strange man. For example, for a long time, no alcohol was allowed on the island. He didn't drink or smoke himself. When the workers wanted to throw a New Year's party once, that was the only time they were able to bring beer. That man spent an incredible amount of money on the island. For example, St. Day cable was laid under the sea from Thomas to the island. It was an infrastructure worth about $2.5 million. The island lacked its own power. A cable provided electricity, internet, and infrastructure. There was a structure there that you would think was a power plant, but it actually wasn't a power plant. It was a system that purified seawater and turned it into drinking water. A cable worth about $2.5 million was laid. In fact, during the calculations, the cable was almost half a meter too short. The engineers noticed it at the last moment. Everyone was seriously stressed out. For example, there was a very beautiful library on the island. It was an amazing library. It was like a small version of the classic libraries in Italy. Indeed, French craftsmen had made it by hand. Italian teams came and did the assembly here. But for some reason, it was never shown anywhere. It was handmade. It was a design in the classic European style. Epstein was a strange man. Let me give you an example. There were 3 pools on the island. One of them was a regular pool. He called one of them the flagpole pool. Flagpole pool. It was a massive Olympic-sized swimming pool. Located right at the top of the main building, there was another luxurious pool just outside the bedroom. There were small bungalow houses around it. Each bungalow had its own bathroom. Guests would stay there. A pool house was also built in the area where the pool was located. Inside, there was a bathroom, a toilet, and other sections. We finished the interior work of that area. We delivered it, everything was completed. Afterwards, Epstein came, stayed for a while, and then left. At that time, those managing the island were people who had accomplished major projects. Then they called me. They said, "Come, dismantle the bathrooms, we're going to redo them." I asked, "What happened? Is there a problem?" I asked. They said, "No, the urinal was installed in the wrong place." Jeffrey wanted to see Saint from there. He wanted to see John. There was no problem at all. But just to be able to see that view, he spent another $50,000. Do you understand what I mean? For example, when Jeffrey Epstein used to arrive at the airport, he would go from the airport to the marina, to the American yacht harbor by car. From there, he would take his boat to the island. Later on, Jeffrey Epstein purchased the entire marina, so he could conveniently dock his private yacht. He bought the entire building there for himself, and also moved his entire office to that location. That's how he used to get around at first. Then, to avoid wasting time, he bought a Sikorsky helicopter. He would fly directly from the airport to the island. He no longer had any need for a boat. He spent about $35 million exclusively for this single mode of transportation, to reduce a 45-minute trip to just 7 minutes. For example, here's an interesting example. He owned the largest penthouse in New York. There was a white marble floor there. There was a stain on one spot of the marble, and they couldn't remove it. We have a friend here. He had him flown to New York by private jet, just to solve that stain problem. So he would get hung up on small details when it came to money. But if it was something important, he would spend without a second thought. As I said, many rich people get caught up in small. They focus on details, but spend serious money on big matters. Suddenly the Baal reached great power. He entrusted his power to him. After that, he started to rise. And then you look at the people he started hanging out with. He had connections with many powerful names, from Acosta to many others. He was truly someone with solid connections everywhere. Now, there is something in human nature. When you have power for a long time, you develop a sense of invincibility. At some point, you start to think you're untouchable. I think this was Epstein's biggest mistake. He fell into a sense of invincibility because of his power. He kept making the same mistakes, the same methods, the same circles. Today I have a daughter. I don't know if you do. But speaking as a father myself, you can imagine exactly how I would react if I had to stay in the same room with one of those people. There is this information. While he was in custody, he was working with very expensive lawyers. Their hourly rates were around $2,000. Erika Keller, a well-known name on the island, it is said that while Epstein was in prison, his lawyers were with him up to 8 hours a day in the period before his death. It is claimed that he constantly arranged meetings with his lawyers to avoid being sent to his cell. If you look at it as 8 hours a day, that amounts to $16,000. So it is said that he did this just to avoid returning to his cell. Similar practices can be seen in other countries as well. Afterwards, there are differing opinions about whether he actually died. The official statement is that it was a suicide. However, doubts persist among the public. For example, there are conspiracy theories about Ghislaine Maxwell's photos in prison. Various claims are being made about her physical appearance. However, these are not verified facts. In the end, there are a lot of allegations and speculation. There was a woman named Virginia Giuffre. She moved to Australia and got married. At one point, she posted on social media saying she would not commit suicide. Later, it was announced that she had committed suicide. She received about £12 million in compensation from Prince Andrew. An official settlement was reached. Afterwards, the case was closed.
Oh, if only there were a Turk. If only we could see a Turkish flag. I'm recording. Is there a problem? What's up? How's it going? It's good, really. Big shock. I said there are no Turks on this island. When I arrived, I wished for Turks. I said that all problems would be solved. Today is my 3rd day. Let me type Turkish business and see on Google Maps. Then I called you. So you showed up? I asked, is the owner Turkish or English? Owner.
Is there any place where there isn't a Turk?
But I mean, this place is really over the top. Respect. Yesterday, helicopters were flying over Epstein Island. Helicopter.
They're flying. It's popular. We expected it, though. Really? How so? Because
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton came and went a lot. He even stopped by the shop. He came and went a lot. I mean, I don't really know, but he was coming and going a lot. He usually visited hospitals too. Something was going on, though.
For example, what did you think was happening?
We just couldn't figure it out.
But there was a feeling.
People were always around. The Kardashians frequented the shop, even stopping by often. It wasn't this popular back then, but they were driving around with 16 or 17 cars and bodyguards.
It's a tiny island.
Word travels fast here.
It's normal for a vacation island, with even the Kardashians and Bill Clinton coming.
But coming so often and driving around with so many cars is a bit strange. Because, they weren't even staying at the hotels or anything.
The Kardashians
Because we would have known about it.
went to Epstein's Island.
I think they did. They did. The whole neighborhood went.
Wow, shocking. He has 2 islands. The guy, I saw it yesterday. Here are his islands in such an amazing place. What are you even doing there? Man, perverted satanic traders or whatever? Now, friends, we're following the trail. While they were interrogating Epstein in America, they asked him something. Where do you live? They asked. And he gives an address on this island. But it's not on Epstein Island. It's connected to Epstein Island. It's on Virgin Island. So, should we go there now?
Let's go. Yes.
So what's at the address he gave? We're going to find it. And Jeffrey? Edward Epstein, and on my body, the address of 6100 Red Hook District, Virgin Islands. Parking the car was a problem, so I'll just park quickly and come back. While talking to the FBI, they asked for his address here. The FBI says 6100 Red Hook Road. Yes, and today? Located right at that specific address, there is a large industrial warehouse. It points exactly to this place. Is it here? Yes. It's either here or here. So the official address he provided to the FBI today is closed. Actually, it's impossible for someone to live at such an address because this is a very central place. Yesterday, my friend opened the doors to places I couldn't enter. We asked dozens of people until evening. No matter how much money we offered to dozens of people, no one wanted to take us. Look, for example, that guy looks like he would take us. But in the end, we found someone who fit what we had in mind and convinced him. We're setting out in the morning. Man, we're really doing something very dangerous right now. He says, go home right now. Right now. Don't panic us, man. What you're doing is incredible. Are you really going? I go. I'll just say, no, you can't do it. Son, if they shoot, you run and leave me. Oops. Oops. Did the first blood spill? It can't be without blood. Good morning. After Muslims' incredible efforts, we finally found a boat. It will take us to Epstein Island. By the way, Muslim, thank you very much. You're welcome, brother. It wasn't easy, to that island. They don't want to go. Yes, I've reached out to at least 200 people via social media, Google Maps, and by visiting every marina I could get into, as you've already shown some of them. Nobody wants to venture out there, and even those who might say they won't, ever approach the island. Because, friends, there are helicopters circling around. And there's this horrific things happened on this island, but it's also very crucial evidence. A body might be hidden somewhere right here. They might have hidden the body of someone they killed. Because this man ordered gallons and gallons, hundreds of liters of acid for a very dark and sinister purpose. Absolutely anything could be on that island, or the other one, that much larger one I mentioned. It's a huge piece of evidence. That's why the FBI is all over it, and they'll probably be digging around. I've actually done some research too, brother. The wealthy locals are also connected to these things because there's no other transport. Everything was going through St. Thomas. Of course, so everything revolves around here. They don't really want to talk. They don't want to look into it too much. It's already such a taboo subject here. I've actually received some very harsh reactions. What was our captain's name? Tony Montana. Our captain Tony will take us to the island. Tony was born and raised here. So we're in safe hands in that regard. He said he used to go to school by boat. Friends, we've truly accomplished a very difficult task. Why are these sunken? Because of the hurricane? They didn't touch them. As I say that, I'm both excited and very anxious. Because we're going to an island where the FBI is active and the world is watching. I wonder if we'll be able to approach the island. I wonder if I'll be able to set foot on the island. With these questions in mind and adrenaline peaking, I'm heading to the island. Yes, friends, the ancient temple has come into view. Many people refer to it as Epstein's Baal Temple, while others claim it's a satanic temple. We've now come very close to the island that the entire world is currently watching with great interest. Helicopters are constantly flying over this island. The other day I told you, whoa, oh my, the vast open sea is getting incredibly windy right now. I'm barely holding on here. We just mentioned the hurricane here. There's a lot of destruction. There's a giant dome on it, a gold dome. It fell during that hurricane and still hasn't been found. It's probably inside this sea. The temple is white with blue stripes. I'm really excited too. Because there's so much security. Yes, this is a place where guests are hosted. There's a pergola, a private beach. And you can clearly see the ancient temple. Look, that's where the iconic American flag is. The fact that this American flag is visibly tattered and torn is a very classic sight in America. It's like it's heavily worn from battle, meaning we won this entire country through wars. Since this is also a crime scene, entering is actually private property anyway. Look, it says private property 3 times. Do you actually have anything to say about this island? I mean, just a little bit of history about the island.
You got Epstein, who came down back in the 90s. He originally bought the island for roughly $8 million. I think it was the late 90s, and you'd see his black jet coming into the airport, and then he'd take a private helicopter over.
He called it Lolita Express, right?
Yeah, the Lolita Express, and he was arrested back in 2006 or 2007. And they ended up, well, he was put in jail for just a couple of months. It really wasn't anything too serious, yeah. And no one really heard about the island. We knew about it locally. We called it Pedophile Island because...
You called it Pedophile Island?
Yeah, I see.
You knew.
Yeah, so I ran all kinds of tours over the years, so we'd always kind of make that joke, and then finally somebody busted him and went after him.
Yeah, so in the 90s, even back when you were a little kid?
Since 2006.
Back in the year 2000, you could definitely tell that something was going on.
Well, once he got arrested, most of us knew.
So why did nobody touch him? Because that's the problem, right? Because even you knew. How old are you?
I'm 42.
Yeah, you are around the same age as I am. So even if you were aware of it, the FBI remained completely in the dark? That is simply impossible, right?
Yeah, I mean, they say that he may have been working for different government agencies around the world in various countries, and that they used him to blackmail people or throw these elaborate parties and stuff. So, I mean, we didn't necessarily know that he was blackmailing, but we knew that he had been soliciting young girls in West Palm Beach.
So did you ever, see him in the island?
I never saw him, but others surely did. I'd see his helicopter and knew he was arriving.
Because we'd see both the jet and the helicopter. Have you ever seen Bill Clinton or other similar movies? Bill Clinton or others?
I've never seen those guys, but he definitely, came through the island. Yep. I know he had some local contractors come in one time, and they completely flipped his unfortunate car down the hill, and they flew out of there on the very next morning.
Why? Why'd they flip his car?
I'm not sure what they were doing, but maybe some security officers were just joyriding, and then they rolled the car.
When did it happen?
This was probably back in 2011 or maybe 2012. But they actually flew out early the very next morning before anyone had even found the car. They eventually found it way down the hill. It was definitely a very interesting situation.
So the islanders who live there, they are quite reluctant to speak about this.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know how many people actually knew about it at the time. The government definitely had some deals going on with Epstein Island, but I mean, it's actually supporting a small local economy down here. So it's very unfortunate and quite sad to see that sometimes you got to get your hands dirty in order to survive, I guess. But it's sad that it was at the expense of these young ladies But yeah, it seems like Epstein had an incredible amount of influence and power, I guess. And he was fully aware of the fact that he could easily get away with his misbehaving without facing any real consequences.
What's your take on the new owner?
I don't really know too much about him, but I know he has an EDC company downtown St. Thomas.
So which company is that? Yeah.
And he actually purchased this island for, I think, both islands. The islands of Great St. James and Little St. James sold for a total of about 60 million. So yeah, our local government sued the Epstein estate and won both islands in a lawsuit. To be honest, I'm not really sure about all that. Yeah, no, I mean, as a registered tax benefit company, you are actually required to donate to local schools and different nonprofit organizations and even government agencies or public schools. So as he was busy running his company down here, I know for a fact he had to make those mandatory donations to certain specific entities.
I got so excited that the thing just blew up. Huh? It blew up in my hand, see? Good thing it didn't cut me. Honestly, I have to do this really fast. I forgot the thing. The case. Man, we're really doing a very dangerous job right now. God damn it. Seriously? I forgot the thing. The case. For the lens. Yes, right now we are directly over the temple. My finger really hurts. The propeller, I stopped the propeller with my finger. Yeah, the signal is cutting out really badly here, man, and it's really windy. Cutting out. I think they put something here. I mean, if we lose the drone, it's really not a big deal for me personally. Right now, I am filming the entrance of the temple directly. Now guys, we're on the unseen side of the island. The guards and so on are on the other side. That's why they haven't woken up yet. That we're here. Otherwise, I've already made it all the way to the temple's entrance. Terrifying. A temple built by the most frightening man in the world. He probably built it for a demonic god, his own god. By the way, this is an incredible amount of wealth. Our captain is a really good guy, by the way. No one else would do this, you know that? They would never do it. You're a very good man. Thank you. He's a quality guy, I mean. Epstein's house with the pool. I think we should bring the drone back. Where are we? We're the only ones in the bay right now, aren't we? Okay. Let me explain something very simple to you, friends. Right now, we're in the most intriguing place in the world. I mean, we're on the island that had all sorts of people from Indonesia to China, even the brother of the King of England taken into custody. But there is not even one single influencer here. Why? Because it's actually very dangerous. Think about it. There should be 1,000 people here, right? We're in America too. In a country where there are YouTubers at every single corner, there are absolutely none here. I'm still quite new to all of this, so sorry. Honestly, it's been a real problem for me too, since I haven't used it in years. Yes, we'll continue exploring the island. Man, it's an incredible wealth. Imagine that this other island also belongs to him. I once flew a drone over it. This is isn't this the big island of St. James? I think that one also belongs to him. Maybe he did a lot there too.
He actually did this back in the year 2016, okay? You know?
He bought it in 2016, so he couldn't do much. A bigger perverse cult would have continued there. Right now, we're on the shore of Epstein Island. The beach is an unbelievably huge beach, like TV. Imagine the scale of his wealth. You could actually say that this pervert set up his own country on this island at the farthest edge of America. There are no police. Even the governor of the island is like that. The mayor of the island, etc. They all completely protect this guy. He comes with his plane, you know? Using his plane, the Lolita Express, islanders know too. Just like the kid said, they call it his island. Its name here is Little Saint James, Little Saint James Island, St. James Island, whatever kind of sainthood that is. But Jeffrey Epstein apparently called it, he gave the island this name, Little St. Jeff's. So Jeffrey's Little St. Jeff's Island. He used to call himself a saint. By the way, we're getting pretty close now. This is unbelievable. Yeah, security is already waiting there. I can see them. Yes, right now we're at Jeffrey Epstein's. We're directly on his island. That house, that's his own house. This is his office. And those in the back are parts of the house too. We've come all the way here. There's no need for the zoom anymore because I'm standing right next to it. Just imagine the incredible scale of his wealth, guys. Seriously, just try to imagine the massive scale of this wealth. Virginia Giuffre is a very important name, guys. She escapes from Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and eventually makes her way to Thailand. In Thailand, she marries an Australian man. That's how she managed to escape. There are also witnesses on this island. Prince Andrew, who is the younger brother of the arrested British King and Queen Elizabeth's widely considered favorite son. Here, Prince Andrew initially chooses to deny the serious allegations against the woman, who was still a child at the time. Then the photos come out. After that, Elizabeth strips him of all his titles. Before dying, she expels him from royalty. This island is 75 acres. There is a tweet, friends. In her tweet, Virginia Giuffre says, she says, "I'm not going to commit suicide." She claimed she wasn't suicidal, yet in 2005, she reportedly took her own life. For instance, Epstein emailed. He says, there are girls at the party, and when he says girls, what do you understand? Like, girls have arrived. For example, you might say girls aged 30 or 20 have arrived. So it depends on the age group. He says 1-year-old. In other words, he defines them as girls. 1-year-old babies, friends. Epstein's residence. Right now, we're so close that if someone were on the balcony, we could hear their voice. Friends, unbelievable. And also, man, this guy, I mean, from nothing to this extent, money, rich enough to buy islands, to be buddies with Bill Clinton, and so on. How, man, what do you think? Isn't it unbelievable?
Man, I look at this pure beauty, and then all these things come to my mind.
It's an incredible beauty.
I mean, as a father, if we ever found...
And it seems that you also have a young child of your own, too.
That's what we were talking about. If we actually found... Look.
There's a little dog on the island. I hope its new owners are good people. There are also a few husbands
around. I would think.
They are definitely watching us right now, aren't they? Yes, I am sure of it. I would say absolutely, without a doubt. Whenever you are planning on heading outdoors for an extended period of time, it is important to be prepared. Now that we have covered those basics, let's go ahead and continue with the rest of our discussion. Let's continue. He wants to be heard. Good for him. Look, friends. I mean, you possess such incredible beauty, but you are truly a devil. Even the devil pales in comparison to this guy. Terrifying. We're really going to get in trouble right now. Dude, just look at how beautiful this house is. The White House. They thought all the evil things they've done would go unpunished. That's what they thought, right? It's unbelievable. And the protection of the FBI. Acosta, who later became a minister in America, protected them, and he had to resign. It's truly beyond comprehension. Really? Whoa. The kid is a great sailor, though.
A great sailor, and he also said something. There are a lot of rocks here. He said passing through here is usually a bit tricky.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. Look, a woman attempted to take her own life from here, for example. One of them tried to swim from here, man. Look, from those rocks. He thought about jumping and swimming to your place? They caught him just before he made the jump. People often say there is an underground tunnel here. And they say this is the entrance to that tunnel. There are these little lines and huts here. Look, there is even a rescue thing, do you see? There is a beach here too. The island is not that small, guys, I mean.
Home point updated.
It is like the White House here. Damn it, what is this, man? Man, I am seeing something like this for the first time. Like a fortress. I swear, I am going to fly over it, no matter what. Yeah, it cut out here, man. We might lose the drone. Because I am directly over the house. I did not see these in any of my research here, for example. Look, there is a semi-buried structure integrated with the terrain here. This is very interesting, for example. I wonder what they used it for. Oh, look, there is a house there too. That what we see on the drone right now, this is Dog Island, right? Dog Island. Yeah, Dog Island, a small island. He tried to buy this place too. Yeah, we could probably lose the drone here.
Battery level is low. The aircraft will return to the home point in exactly 10 seconds.
Hey, do not turn back.
We gotta get back to the home point.
Okay, yeah.
I do not know where it is going to go.
It says return home immediately. Immediately. Yeah, I'm going now.
Go back to home screen.
This is as far as our money goes. With the drone, I couldn't find an extra battery or anything, but it doesn't matter anyway. We finished the mission, we got the shot.
Very nice.
We got it. Yeah, it's at 38 meters, 38. Look at the kid's eyes. How can you see that? Man, I panicked. It's going to fall now, nothing we can do. Can you do it? I'm having a panic attack. By the way, we're going to hit the rock. Don't make us panic.
Did the first blood flow?
It's not possible without blood. It would have fallen if I hadn't grabbed it. I guess we were meant to bleed. Look, we've reached the other end. The temple is visible from here too. Let the drone go, man. It's a cheap drone. Since this is a more than 10-year-old vintage drone, we are currently viewing Epstein Island from quite a further distance. Here it's heading out to open sea. Guys.
To which one?
There are stairs on the island. Look. Right? I have shoes for sea urchins. Small.
I'm very sorry, but it seems that the only things I have left in my first aid kit right now are these small band-aids.
Ones. No, it's okay. He says he has small bandages.
What you're doing is incredible. You really going?
I won't.
No, you can't do it.
Yes.
And then you did what you wanted to.
Wait just a minute. So where on earth could it have gone? I can't seem to find it anywhere. So where exactly is my bag right now?
Your bag is right there.
Man, let me give you this money and stuff. Oh wait, these are my notes. These notes aren't important.
Simply throw them in the bag.
No, I already know them. Guys, if they shoot, you run and leave me. I'll go with my t-shirt. I'll go with my t-shirt. I have a spare one.
It's calm right now.
If an armed man shows up there, I'll panic, man.
I'll distract him. I'll talk from here.
If someone comes, shout to me. I'm coming right back.
Sounds good.
He says, don't let him go too far, bro.
Is it true you forced a 15-year-old girl to hex with numerous friends? Are you kidding? A friend of sent three 12-year-old girls from France for defendant to exploit and abuse after doing so.
I am also going to go ahead and open up this box, and after I am done, I will step right out into the spot right in front of him. I am really going... Come on. We honestly did not do it at all. Yes, that is absolutely correct. My dear friends and fellow viewers, it is truly a pleasure to have you all here with us today. We landed on the island. They do something everywhere. They used to come here and make marks. Look over there, since they put a bench there. Again, there's some kind of perversion or something here. Because it's not really suitable for swimming. It's very wavy. This side of the island is rough, the other side is calm. Honestly, we did it. We hadn't landed on an island before. Now we did that too. Look, we were just watching from this side of the island too. There's also a stone house on this side. Again, we're probably the first people in the world to film the island in this much detail. I've never seen an episode like this before. We've become the first people in the world to film it in such detail. Yes, look, there's a stone house. There's a small beach, a stone beach. It's not sand. Like I said, it's very dangerous to land on this island. That is because this is also a crime scene. The entire world is watching this island. Look at these rocks. They're pink, just like marble. How interesting. I wonder if this is the house, the one they call a house. This is probably one of the places where he got massages because it's open. It's exactly like, in places like Thailand, etc. There are massage areas on the beaches. It looks like those. Here he would watch the sunset and have all sorts of perversions done for his guests and himself. And the temple, this time we're seeing it from the other side. Every part of the island is being watched, guys, with cameras. They've probably seen me enter right now as well. But maybe they couldn't catch up, probably, because I entered from a far corner. This isn't unique to this island. Palm trees. Epstein has them planted. He has them planted around the island and along the road. Because it's so windy, trees don't grow on this island, naturally. I mean, it's incredibly windy. And this temple has a golden dome. It has an old structure with blue stripes. The new owner paints it white. And the golden dome of the temple disappears. And no one knows where it is. The hurricane is so strong that it takes the dome away too. There's also something under the temple. A bench to sit on. There are 2 to 3 benches. Of course, the secrets of this temple will be revealed. I will also show you images from inside the temple, photographs that were taken. For example, there are some very strange masks, and it is said that some of those masks represent certain American senators and so on. It's very interesting that the hurricane blew away that dome. That dome is probably somewhere around here, because it's a hurricane that blows away cars and even destroys boats. I guess we're capturing the closest and clearest images of the Epstein Temple from here. Epstein's likely affiliated temple. I think this is the American flag, and then what happened to it. I might be wrong, though. We're getting really, really, really close now to the temple. And we've now circled the entire island. Like this. The whole world is watching this island. It's one of the islands where the world's greatest perversions have taken place. At the highest level, too, the names of American presidents, the royal family, billionaires, Bill Gates and Prince Andrew are mentioned. And all of it happened on this island and at his mansion in Florida. And this temple still remains shrouded in mystery. Most likely this mystery will be solved. Epstein's partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, refused to talk about it in the last interrogation, but probably for bargaining purposes. There's a system like that in America. You can negotiate, depending on the significance of the information you provide. She's probably bargaining for a new life, maybe even changing her appearance. She was at least as perverse as Epstein in procuring girls. Epstein used her. It's also said that she was his lover. As many of you know, on this channel, we help students at Shafaka, or sometimes families of martyrs. We try to provide scholarships to students at Shafaka. All the proceeds go toward this. If you take a moment to subscribe to our channel, comment, like, and recommend us to your friends, these scholarships and our good deeds will grow even more, and your support is truly vital for our growth. I'm tired. I've been working quite hard. I've been in this room for quite a long time. Yes, Epstein Island, which is commonly referred to as an island among the public. As you can see, there is absolutely no one here. There isn't a single influencer around the island, because it's really problematic. The island is constantly under surveillance. Of course, his death is also suspicious. Everything about this is suspicious. Just like that, so is this. This is Great Saint James, right? Great Saint James. But they were saying that nothing has been built on it yet. However, I can clearly see an area like a large building and an industrial warehouse. Maybe it was constructed sometime after that period, but it looks quite old. Maybe, probably the people working on the island were said to walk around naked, etc. That's what they were saying. It was this room. Maybe they used it. If he had the time before he died, I don't know. Actually, there are a lot of unknowns about this subject. That is because after he died, it was quickly covered up. Yes, this is Great St. James Island. There are cacti on it. This is also Epstein's other island. All the documentaries say that there's nothing on this island, but he built a helipad. So he had started preparing it for his perversions. He was that confident in himself. Of course, he dies. His death is like this. This world is a clear example that no one is left without suspicion. No one should trust anyone. Even the mountains you lean your back on. His death is suspicious like this. In a highly secure hospital, naturally, and in a small cell, the cameras break down. The inmates fall asleep. Somehow, in such a highly secure hospital, and with some ridiculous pair of pants, or maybe a scarf, or a piece of his clothing, something like that, he hangs himself, but like by jumping off the bunk bed or something like that. Then an autopsy is performed. In the autopsy, there are fractures that couldn't occur in a suicide like that. I mean, then there are fractures seen in the jawbones. So, to me, the suicide story sounds 99% made up. Of course, we can't know for sure, but being skeptical is always the best approach, especially in a case like this. Yes, this is an island that not many people in the world have visited. It belongs to America. 2 islands connected to it are private property. This one, of course, is much bigger. Just take a moment to look at the breathtaking beauty of the sea's shades on this stunning island that I have just stepped onto. Of course, my guess is that a lot of things happened on this island too, because the 2 islands are extremely close to each other. I mean, you can cross over in about 30 seconds with a small boat. It is truly incredible. It is remarkably inexpensive, this. This is actually a big lesson for the world, because we see here what happens when a single individual is untouchable. Look here, every single person should be able to be held accountable, and every single person should be held fully accountable under the rule of law. And only we, the very people whom these others call simple, can truly do this. Together, we are very strong. Law is the most important thing in the world. It is as important as bread, as important as water. The complete lack of privileged classes, exactly what these privileged classes are able to do, and what they can effectively prevent from happening. Even in a country like America, where the sword of the law is very sharp, this is an example of how the FBI, government officials, and prosecutors try to protect powerful people. If this is happening in America, imagine what must be happening in all the other countries of the world. That's why law is so important. It is absolutely necessary for everyone. Friend, Tony did an amazing job. Thank you very much, Tony. You're the best.
No problem. Thank you guys for coming out.
You're really the best. You're a really, really, really adventurous guy.
Hopefully we get some more Turkish travelers out here.
Yes.
All right.
If you come here for traveling, find him. My friend, I couldn't have done it without you. He's an amazing guy.
Still, it's a great video too.
Yes, we were able to film in great detail. Friends, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you later.